Good evening, here are tonight's top stories. Police are in pursuit of Hulk following a shooting incident in Cummings Park. A wanted bulletin has been issued for Evelyn Moore, also known as Evelyn Persaud. A businessman's guns have been seized, and his security detail has been arrested. Regional news reports that Dolly Boss has been shot dead in Tobago, marking the 19th murder of the year. A Guyanese man has opened fire on a group of boys at Drambrandersgracht. Guyana has triumphed over St Vincent and the Grenadines in the CONCACAF Girls U15 Championship. A minibus driver has been tragically killed in a Garden of Eden accident. The election fraud trial has been adjourned as the magistrate takes sick leave. Rockin Maon has been acquitted of 2021 murder charges in the Demerara High Court. Gyana is considering a proposal for cameras in polling stations. Stay tuned for the details of these stories. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more news.
Police in pursuit of Hulk following shooting incident in Cummings Park. Police are actively investigating a shooting that occurred late Tuesday night in Cummings Park, involving a 27-year-old man identified as Juhu Mingo. The suspect, known only by the alias Hulk, allegedly fired several rounds at Mingo, resulting in injuries. The incident took place at approximately 22:50 HRS when Mingo, who was at home, heard his window shutter being opened. Upon inspection, he recognized the intruder as Hulk, who was dressed in black. Hulk reportedly discharged multiple rounds towards Mingo, striking him in the left thigh, before fleeing the scene on foot. Mingo was promptly transported to Georgetown Public Hospital, where he received medical attention and is currently in stable condition. Earlier in the day, Mingo and Hulk had been involved in a heated argument at a road corner around 1750 hours. Unbeknownst to Mingo, the dispute would escalate into violence later that evening. Police have since processed the crime scene and recovered 3 suspected 9mm spent shells. The search for Hulk is ongoing as detectives continue their investigation. Authorities are urging anyone with information about the suspect or the shooting incident to come forward. Rockin Maon acquitted of 2021 murder charges in Demerara High Court. Rockin Maon, widely known as Rocky, has been acquitted of the murder of Keno Griffith, also known as Tucky, which occurred on July 26, 2021, in Old Caracara, Mackenzie, Linden. The verdict was delivered at the Demerara High Court before Justice Zamina Ali Sipal on August 6, 2024. Maon, who had been held in remand for 3 years, was declared not guilty by the jury after hours of deliberation. This decision came following an intense trial where the prosecution alleged that Maon, armed with a cutlass, fatally wounded Griffith after an altercation involving Griffith's mother. Initially charged with attempted murder, the charges were elevated to murder following Griffith's death. During the trial, it was revealed that the conflict began when Griffith's mother accused Maon of inappropriate behavior and spat in his face. In response, Maon threw water on her, which led Griffith to return home, fetch a cutlass, and confront Maon. Witnesses testified to seeing Maon attack Griffith, leaving him injured. However, defense attorney Dominic Bess of Amsterdam and Associates successfully challenged the prosecution's case, pointing out critical inconsistencies and discrepancies in the testimonies. Attorney Bess argued that the evidence presented was contradictory and insufficient to sustain a murder conviction, casting doubt on the circumstances of Griffith's injuries. This trial marks Maon's second attempt to resolve the charges. The first trial in November 2023 before Justice Simone Morris Ramlall ended in a hung jury, necessitating a retrial. Maon has been released following the acquittal, concluding a complex and lengthy legal process. Minibus driver tragically killed in Garden of Eden accident. The Guyana police force is currently investigating a tragic accident that occurred at approximately 4:30 a.m. today on the Garden of Eden public road, resulting in the death of minibus driver Keith Caesar. The accident involved 3 vehicles, a minibus, plate number BAE 7146, driven by Keith Caesar, 35, from Northeast La Penitence, Georgetown, a motor car, plate number PVV 4095, driven by Keon King, 35, from Hyde Park, Timeri, and a hire car, plate number HD 606, owned and driven by Vishnu Bastio, 30, from Martyrsville, East Coast, Demerara. Preliminary investigations have revealed that the motorcar PVV 4095 was traveling south along the eastern lane of the Garden of Eden Public Road, followed by the hire car HD 606. The hire car driver reported that PVV 4095 suddenly swerved westwards and collided with the minibus, which was traveling north along the western lane at high speed. The impact caused the minibus to overturn several times, and the motorcar then spun and collided with the hire car. Emergency services, including an ambulance, fire service, and 2 teams of emergency medical technicians, were dispatched to the scene. Keith Caesar, the minibus driver, was transported to the Diamond Diagnostic Center, where he unfortunately succumbed to his injuries. Keon King, the driver of PVV 4095, was taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital and is currently in critical condition. Vishnu Bastio, the hire car driver, was arrested and is in custody at the Grove Police Station, assisting with the ongoing investigation. Guyana triumphs over St Vincent and the Grenadines in CONCACAF Girls U15 Championship. Guyana secured a decisive victory against St Vincent and the Grenadines in their second match of the CONCACAF Girls U15 Championship. The game, held at the CONCACAF headquarters, saw an impressive performance by the Guyanese team, who dominated with a final scoreline. Sydney Glean was the standout player of the match, scoring 2 remarkable goals that showcased her skill and precision. Sabana Simon also contributed significantly to the team's success by netting a goal, further solidifying Guyana's lead. The victory marks an important step for Guyana in the championship, boosting the team's morale and positioning them as strong contenders in the tournament. The players and coaching staff expressed their satisfaction with the performance and are looking forward to maintaining their winning streak in the upcoming matches. Fans and supporters of the team are eagerly awaiting the next game, hopeful that Guyana will continue to display their prowess on the field. Guyanese man opens fire on group of boys at Drambrandersgracht. Waterkant.net reports. On Monday afternoon, a Guyanese man riding a blue moped fired multiple shots at a group of boys who were sitting and talking under an olive tree on the Drambrandersgracht in Suriname. An eyewitness, who was working nearby at the time, reported seeing the man, who was not wearing a helmet, suddenly shoot at the group. According to the witness, the incident likely stemmed from a dispute between the shooter and one of the boys. After the shots were fired, the shooter fled the scene on his moped. One young man, approximately 20 years old, sustained a knee injury and was assisted by a bystander. The Nueva Haven police promptly arrived at the scene to conduct an investigation. Although no casings were found, a projectile was recovered. The shots had struck several objects, including 2 bottles from a nearby liquor vendor and a green cabinet. The Surinamese police have launched a full investigation into the incident, but no arrests have been made at this time. Regional news: Dolly Boss shot dead in Tobago, 19th murder of the year. Trinidad Express: tranquility was shattered once again in Tobago as the island recorded its 19th murder of the year. Victoria Guerra, known as Dolly Boss, and alleged to be a member of the Seven Gang, was brutally gunned down in Argyle around 3 p.m. yesterday. According to reports, Gyana was hiding in the countryside with other gang members. She was walking towards the Argyle waterfall when a car approached, and several men emerged, opening fire on Gyana and a male companion. Both victims were rushed to Roxborough Hospital, where Gyana succumbed to her injuries while under police guard. The male victim, who was grazed by a bullet, survived. The attackers also targeted an alleged 6 gang member in Pembroke, in what appears to be a continuation of the violent feud between rival gangs. The killing of Dolly Boss is suspected to be retaliation for the murder of Ezra Sylvester, 41, a 6 gang member, who was shot multiple times on Saturday in Scarborough. Sylvester, along with 2 others, Anthony Lopez and Andrew Archer, were ambushed by 5 gunmen. Sylvester died at the Scarborough General Hospital, while the others were injured. This latest wave of violence has shocked the residents of Tobago, a usually peaceful island that has recently seen a spike in fatal shootings. Notably, July witnessed a quadruple murder in Black Rock, where 4 men, Anselm Douglas, Gregory Hamlet, Samuel McCain, and Jamoki Duncan, were killed by gunmen in camouflage uniforms. Businessman's guns seized, security detail arrested. Big Smith News Watch reports, a dramatic incident unfolded on Tuesday night involving 41-year-old truck driver Samora Hadeway, who was forced to take evasive measures to preserve his life after security guards for a prominent city businessman opened fire on his truck. Hadeway, who was accompanied by a porter, told Big Smith News Watch that they had gone to Garnett Street to pick up a container that had been dropped off at the Lumina store for discharge. Upon arrival, they found the container still being unloaded. In an effort to avoid blocking traffic, Hadway pulled to the shoulder of the road. While waiting in the truck, Hadway heard a commotion and saw men tampering with a battery cover of his vehicle through the side mirrors. He exited the truck, replaced the cover, and returned to the cabin. As he revved the engine to build up pressure to move off, the men ran to the side of the truck, banging on it with guns and shouting, "This is Osif's truck!" As Hadway began to drive away, the men opened fire, causing a flat tire. Hadway immediately contacted his employer and the police. His employer arrived before the police. Upon the police's arrival, an individual approached them, pointing out a car containing the shooters. The car, which had initially left the scene, returned, and the police gave chase. The suspects were intercepted, arrested, and 3 guns were seized. These firearms were registered to an individual named Avanish, located at Garnett and Middleton Streets in Georgetown. Efforts to contact Regional Commander Assistant Commissioner Simon McBean for comments have been unsuccessful, as he is currently out of the jurisdiction but is still overseeing the division's operations. The investigation into the incident remains ongoing. Police issue wanted bulletin for Evelyn Moore, also known as Evelyn Persaud. The police have issued a wanted bulletin for Evelyn Moore, also known as Evelyn Persaud, aged 59 years. Moore is wanted for obtaining money by false pretenses. The offense occurred at Vreed en Hoop, Stelling Road, West Coast Demerara, WCD, between March 2 and July 24, 2024. Her last known address is Leonora, WCD. Authorities urge anyone with information on Moore's whereabouts to contact the police at the following numbers: 268-2222, 229-2219, 225-8196, or 225-6976. Individuals can also report to the nearest police station. The public is reminded that all information provided will be treated with the strictest confidence. The police have expressed their commitment to apprehending Moore and request the public's assistance in ensuring justice is served. Election fraud trial adjourned as magistrate takes sick leave. Kaider News reports that the election fraud trial, currently being held at the Georgetown Magistrates Court, has been postponed due to the illness of Senior Magistrate Laron Daly. The trial, which began last week, was briefly halted after 3 days of proceedings. It has now been rescheduled to resume on September 17, 2024. Originally slated to reconvene on Monday, the trial faced an unexpected delay following notification of Magistrate Daly's health issue over the weekend. Despite efforts to restart the proceedings on Wednesday, it was confirmed that Magistrate Daly will be on sick leave for the next 30 days. To date, only 2 prosecution witnesses have testified, with one witness's testimony still incomplete. During the last court session on July 31st, lead prosecutor Darshan Ramdhani KC raised concerns about the exclusion of what he described as credible evidence from witnesses. Ramdhani has requested that these witnesses retake the stand to reaffirm their statements and demonstrate the credibility and relevance of the omitted evidence. Defense attorneys Darren Wayne, UC Anderson, and Ronald Daniels have objected to Ramdhani's request, suggesting a potential conflict of interest and arguing that further submissions should be made by other defense attorneys before any decision is reached. Magistrate Daly indicated the need for additional time to consider these matters, leading to the adjournment of the trial to August 5, 2024. The trial involves 9 defendants facing 19 conspiracy charges related to the alleged presentation of false votes from the March 2, 2020, general and regional elections. Defendants include former GECOM Chief Election Officer Keith Lowenfield, former District 4 Returning Officer Claremont Mingo, former Deputy Chief Election Officer Roxanne Myers, former Health Minister Volda Lawrence, APNU plus AFC Chief Scrutineer Carol Smith-Joseph, and former GECOM employees Sheffrin February, Enrique Liven, Michelle Miller, and Denise Babb Cummings. GECOM considers proposal for cameras in polling stations. The Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, has acknowledged a recent article published by Stabroek News on August 3, 2024, titled AFC Calls on GECOM to Provide Updates for Improved Electoral System. The article highlights the Alliance for Change's, AFC, dissatisfaction with the current electoral system, particularly concerning the voters list, and their call for the adoption of biometrics and electronic voting to enhance electoral integrity. In response, GECOM reiterates that its operations are governed strictly by the laws of Guyana. Chairman Justice of Appeal, Retted, Claudette Singh, has consistently emphasized that GECOM cannot act outside of the existing statutory provisions for national registration, local government elections, and general and regional elections. Specifically, the introduction of biometric technologies would require legislative changes, which GCOM is unable to implement until such changes are made. The Commission has previously facilitated discussions on a proposal to introduce digital fingerprint capture during registration and biometric fingerprint identification of voters at polling stations. A feasibility study on these proposals has been completed and is under review by the Commission. Regarding the AFC's concerns about updating the voters list, GCOM highlights that updates to the National Register of Registrants Database, NRRDB, are governed by a decision from Chief Justice, AG, Roxanne George Wiltshire, which has not been appealed. Consequently, GCOM is limited to updating the NRRDB based on reports of deceased individuals received from the General Register Office and through claims and objections exercises. Additionally, under the amendments to the National Registration Act, No. 26 of 2022, the Chief Election Officer has requested periodic reports of deceased persons from the Chief Medical Officer and the Commissioner of Police to aid in updating the NRRDB. GCOM assures that multiple safeguards are in place to ensure the integrity of the electoral process, including the presence of political party agents at polling stations, accurate voter identification, use of indelible ink, security personnel from the Guyana Police Force, extensive voter education, trained election day staff, and oversight by local and international observers. To address concerns about voter impersonation, the Chief Election Officer has submitted a proposal for placing cameras in polling stations to record activities while maintaining ballot secrecy. This proposal is currently under review by the Commission. GCOM remains committed to fulfilling its constitutional mandate and assures all stakeholders of its dedication to delivering free, fair, transparent, and credible elections.